Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I'm Chris, and I am joined by my brothers, Adam.
Hello.
And Eric.
Hello.
And we are back in the room for our 100th episode. Thank you to our 4 listeners.
Confetti.
And in this week's episode, we have decided to look back at a game that we love because thematically it seems fitting. Greatness from small beginnings, Uncharted, Drake's Fortune. It's a game that we love. And as we talk about the series, people will maybe come to realize that it's actually from this series that the name of our podcast was derived. So given that it's the 100th episode, it seems fitting to talk about this series. And also given that Nathan Drake is a character who looks back. But also next month, or in a few weeks at this point, the Uncharted movie is finally dropping. So in a lead up to that as well, around this time, it seems like a fitting time to talk about the Uncharted series. And the Legacy of Thieves collection literally just dropped. So Uncharted is on our minds. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We will be going into spoilers about Uncharted. So hopefully you guys have all played it or at least familiar with it. Or if not, this is a great time to hear why the game is so good and why you should still go back and play it. If this is a game that you've missed out on, it is fucking amazing and you need to play it. And we'll tell you exactly why. But if you're familiar with it, then welcome to the discussion. We'd love to hear from you. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please do jump down into the comments at any point to share your thoughts on all things Uncharted and anything else that we bring up during the discussion. And if you enjoyed us, please do give this a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click the notification bell. If you're listening to the audio platforms, then you can touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to give your take on everything that we bring up today. But without further ado, let's talk Uncharted!
We've surely discussed this game before.
Believe it or not, we have not.
Really?
Yes. So, well, maybe in like passing or
It was
brief
probably
mention.
in our
discussion of Uncharted 4. We discussed Uncharted 4 before.
Yeah. You see, here's what's happened. In
Tell me what's
our-
happening, Chris.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what. Let me tell you this. I'm a podcast person. No, in our first 11 episodes, which are now on YouTube. They were previously not on YouTube, but they are now on YouTube. So they were audio only in the beginning because we hadn't figured any of this out yet. And we were talking about our favorite games from each year in the past decade, leading up to the turn of 2020.
Oh, yeah.
But Uncharted 1 came out in 2007.
Yeah, so it wasn't included.
So it was before that. And we also didn't talk Uncharted 2. So we talked Uncharted 3, but it was like a brief mention because that was our like a runner-up game to the year of Skyrim. It's got to mention. And then we talked Uncharted 4 because that was our favorite game of a particular year. But again, it was kind of just, this is why we like it so
So we just
much,
mentioned it in passing then.
Yeah. Yeah. So we haven't actually talked about Uncharted Drake's Fortune, which is in a way quite shocking because Uncharted is one of our favorite series of all time.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. So let's talk about why it's awesome. Eric, what do you like about Uncharted Drake's Fortune generally before we go a bit deeper?
Well,
Sit back on the couch there, Eric, and tell us all about it.
Tell us all about it.
yeah, I will, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on the show there, Chris.
No problem. I'm glad to have you back. You got the job, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. Actually, my boss was looking through our podcast episode, and he did come across the one where it's titled "Eric Goes for a Job Interview," which I forgot was one. Anyway,
Oh, that's that.
The job interview was actually it was our game of the decade discussion, and it's because it's like I think during one of our episodes, it might have been the one where we talked about Uncharted 4, where it was like, okay, I could be wrong, but I think we all had the same favorite. Is that right?
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and Eric was like, yes, that is the case. That is right. Yes, we do have the same. But he wasn't like joking at the time, and it was like he was just answering everything like as if it was a fucking English exam or something.
Yeah, well, good times. Anyway, well, at the time, graphically, it was amazing.
Fuck yeah.
Like obviously you go back and it has aged, but it's like early PS3, but at the time that was amazing. And when it comes to the actual performance and acting, it was like going back to the times of Metal Gear Solid, where, not saying that people around that time weren't doing good voice acting, it's just that Uncharted's was another level. And the direction of the game was very movie-like, and we could even tell from the trailer, but when it was first being advertised, like this felt more like it was a movie than a video game. You couldn't.
Actually, that's interesting because me and Eric were excited for it based on the trailer.
Yeah.
I know Eric got it, so
I got it.
We have Eric to thank for in terms of our entry into Uncharted, but you actually weren't excited for the trailer.
Yeah, no, I wasn't convinced at all by that trailer. I think it was because it kind of reminded me. Do you remember there was a game called Broken Dragon or something like that? Or no, Sleeping Dragon? I don't know.
Broken Sword,
Sleeping Dragon.
Broken Sword, Sleeping Dragon, crouching bastard.
Yeah.
With the airplane hanging out of the cliff.
Yeah, it was like a click adventure almost.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me those vibes, you see. That's why I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure. And I have to say, I thought that trailer, because if you look at the gameplay from the trailer versus the gameplay of how it ended up, it's actually quite different. They really improved it. Like, the game is miles better than that trailer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I suppose when I saw the trailer, I was like, that looks really good.
Yeah.
And I did think it looked really good. And then you get the actual game and it's even better. Oh my God. It's like a dream come true.
Yeah.
Because sometimes trailers are better than the thing you watch or play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think he had a different outfit now, didn't he? Didn't he have his like red sleeves?
The red sleeves.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. And then they changed it to the kind of white one. And then that became fashion for the next 20 years.
The Henley?
Henny's clothes. Yeah, the Henley and the jeans and everything.
Yeah, but he didn't have the Henley in the first one, though.
No,
it was Henley's style, though. Like, it was a long sleeve top.
I'd say it was more second one, I think.
Second one
the second one,
the fashion.
But,
yeah.
But still,
for sure.
The Quantum Solace of the series.
Wow.
No, in terms of fashion, man.
What? What are you talking about? Bond wears a suit in all of them.
No, I know, but like when it comes to like the style of Bond, Quantum is like that's his like most stylish in terms of the Daniel Craig series.
Oh sure, okay,
yeah.
I was getting worried what you were saying there. I was like, Among Thieves is not the Quantum of Solace of Uncharted.
A little bit. No, actually, that would be Tree. Tree
That's
is a bit
harsh.
Quantum in a way, isn't it?
Tree is Quantum.
In terms of like the like, none of this is connecting. It's kind of cool what's happening, but what's going on?
I would say, and there's probably one we're not going to talk about. Not the Lost Legacy. The Golden Abyss is the Quantum of Solace of Uncharted.
No, that's the Never Say Never Again.
That's Never Say Never Again.
Sure. Okay.
It's there. It exists. You can watch it, but we don't really count it. Obviously, Nolan North counts because he actually had to do work for it. But the rest of us don't.
Yeah. It's actually rated quite highly amongst people's kind of.
Is it good? Because you played it, Adam.
I don't think so.
Turns out we are going to talk about it.
It's fine. Might as well. It's part of the series, I guess.
And it is very, because I've seen a bit of gameplay with Adam, and it does look quite similar to Uncharted 1 because you're going through the jungle and all that. Yeah, it does seem quite similar to that. But that's one thing that was cool about Uncharted 1 is because at the time the graphics were so cool, was the lush greenery of the island with then.
It always reminded me of a Playmobil set. You know, that kind of plasticky green.
Especially when you go up to the castle. You know, when you first go around that corner?
Yeah.
And you see that castle? Yeah, it's that castle that you get from Playmobil.
Yeah. It is.
So that's, yeah.
I was always blown away by the water.
Yes.
Not the sea, but the water.
The water looked amazing in the game.
Sure did. Like, and the kind of wet effects when you get out of the water and he looks wet. Drowned, like.
Yeah. And but
he looks absolutely dead when he gets out of the water.
He's dead, like deceased. It's the blockbuster feel of the game, though, really, isn't it? It's the it's the Hollywood movie
Yeah, well, like
showmanship of the whole thing.
Yeah, they're opening with going through the water, and there's the greatness from small beginnings quote by Sir Francis Drake, and it zooms in on the coffin, and then it transitions from that to the coffin on the boat. Like, it just is very Hollywood.
It's beautifully shot.
Yeah,
throughout,
really well shot.
If that's the right terminology in terms of using the camera in this digital way.
Environment.
But also, I think, you know, the way, like, and yeah, there's a love for like retro, and there's a nostalgia for retro, but like, just for a lot of people, there's only so far back you can go before you feel like it's like, no, the controls are janky or they're working against me or whatever. Not the case with Uncharted. Even Uncharted 1, the camera is really good. Like, the controls are really good. It plays really well. I think that's like the turning point of modern gaming in a way, maybe. I'm trying to pinpoint other games of that era and that generation that pinpoint the modern feel of giving you total control of a game.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to make, was even with the cinematics, you know, there's some games that you can kind of say, like, okay, there's a break and has influenced so many games going forward. And Uncharted definitely fits into that. COD 4 probably as well, and obviously Metal Gear, Grand Theft Auto. So those are games that when they come out, it's like everyone wants to now do that. Like, once Uncharted Drake's Fortune came out, it's like everything now shifted to having, like, even Call of Duty, which, you know, COD 4 was somewhat cinematic, but it became ridiculous. Like, it became Michael Bay cinematic after Uncharted. You know,
mainly Uncharted 2 and 3, I'd say, because Uncharted 2 and 3 was when it got a little, you know, train collapsing, plane collapsing, boat collapsing, castle collapsing, the world collapsing. You know, it was those two that kind of did that. And COD.
No, but you still have that in the first one as well. Like
you do, but
the first one said it, but then I suppose they had the task of, like,
how do you go bigger?
How do you go bigger? Go bigger. Go bigger or go home. You know what I mean?
But it didn't feel out of place either, though. It wasn't like, remember with Assassin's Creed and then Assassin's Creed 2, that's such a shift in a game that it almost feels like they're not part of the same series. They just share the same name. Whereas Uncharted 2, it feels like a natural progression over the first one.
Yeah, or when you go from, like, Uncharted, or when you go from, like, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag to, like, Assassin's Creed Origins, and you're fighting the gods, and it's like, well, this is very different. You just might as well made two separate games here. They're not the same thing.
Yeah. Very different brand, nearly. Yeah, it's just using the same name. But then you know, people like the Evolve series as well, but no, it's nice that with Uncharted, it's kind of and similar, I think, to the Arkham series, where it's and the earlier Metal Gear series, where it's like, no, more of the same, please. Like, I just give me more of the same. If it looks better and there's bigger set pieces, that's all I want, you know. In terms, like, it's like, I don't need you to add in, like, it's like, well, this time there's a massive open world, and this time you can, like, or totally change up the combat just to make it feel new and fresh. And it's like, no,
or it'll take hundreds of hours to complete.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Is that a good thing?
No, it's not.
The game takes hundreds of hours to complete.
The thing is with games is that, like, it's, you know, you can, like, with like Metal Gear Solid 2, right? Metal Gear Solid 2. The game's not that long. Like, the actual story is not that long. It's the bits in between, though. It's like allowing players to just go in and shoot the glass in a bathroom and just play in that area. It's the tranking someone and then throw them, like, in a locker or off the,
throw them off the boat,
the ship, it's that's what the, like, allows you to spend more time in the world and get more out of it. But the actual story I don't think should be any longer than, I don't know, maybe 20 hours is as much as it needs to be, I think.
But 20 hours is good, you know.
Well,
value. Yeah.
Depends on the story, but
they're not.
Yeah.
They're not saying that the story is hours long, hundreds of hours of long.
Well, Red Dead 2 would be my point of, like, kind of, like, I tried so much. Like, when I go through the remember the PlayStation recap,
right?
And my second most played game of last year was Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't think I'm even. I don't know. I don't know how far I am into that game, but I feel like I'm, like, years away from completing it. Like, I just don't feel the progression in it. and I know it's a long game, as was the first one.
Yeah, I think the problem with Red Dead 2 is you just keep moving. You're kind of like every time you're moving from one camp to the next, it's like the same reason. So that's why there doesn't feel like a progress. Like with Red Dead 1, when you feel like you're progressing because it's you need this thing, then you need that thing, then you need that thing. Now you can attack the fort. Oh, you attack the fort, but the guy got away. Okay, well now I have to go over there. So there's that progression, even though it's long. But like Red Dead 2 is just, oh boy, we need to get more money. Oh no, the cops are after us. We got to move camp. Okay, we set up a camp. Now we need to get more money. Oh no, the cops are coming. And that's the whole fucking story.
So my point is that like with Red Dead is like there's so much to do in that world that the story doesn't need to be that long.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like a 20 hour story is fine.
You already have a playground.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think with Uncharted, there's still that like level of, you know, even though the story is not that long, the story experience, it's such a ride that you kind of want to do it again. You could try it on a different difficulty. There's things to unlock, whether it's new weapons.
Yeah, but there's the treasures as well to collect.
Yeah, and behind the scenes
in the world
footage, which kind of reminds me of like, you know, like the theater mode in Snake Eater a little bit.
Yeah. No, it was very it's a really replayable game, and I miss those kind of games from the PS3, Xbox 360 era, which were just so replayable. Because they told you the story was cinematic, but then you did have this playground to mess around in. You had all these collectibles and unlockables.
Yeah,
and stuff.
It's like, let's see if I can do that same level, but like it's like it feels like Mario nearly. It's like there's something simplistic about it, but it's just taken to the next level. It's like because like the difficulty of Uncharted 1, I think it's probably
it's rock. It's really hard.
It's probably the hardest of the Uncharted games, actually. Especially level. Because 5, Eric?
As games get newer, apart from like the whole Soulsborne stuff, the games get more accessible. So, like the easiest difficulty on a modern game is like really easy. Like I just finished my playthrough of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yeah.
And the difference between kind of casual on Mass Effect 3 versus casual on Mass Effect 2 and 1 is ridiculous. Actually ridiculous. Oh, it's ridiculous. I was like, wow, are my bullets made of pure fucking mithril? Like, what the hell?
It's the same with, like, I mean, try Uncharted.
I didn't take cover. I just walked around shooting and everything died. I don't even need to take cover.
Play Uncharted 4 on like, very easy, right?
Yeah.
And then go back and play Uncharted 1 on very easy. And I think it's mission 4. Yeah. It's the bit where, remember the plane? And everyone keeps jumping down?
Yes, yeah.
It's that bit. Like, that's just...
I remember actually, because I was playing on Crushing. I was trying to do it on Crushing, and it was the bit in the ruins where people jump down. That was getting me.
Like in the castle?
No. It was still on chapter 4. You drop down kind of one or two ledges.
Oh, I know.
Into an area.
Oh, yeah. So it's just it's literally just
with the guy
after
with the grenade launcher.
Yeah, and
it's
then
just after the plane bit, isn't it?
No, it's before the plane bit. It's before the plane bit.
No, it's after the plane bit.
No,
it is. Not that okay, now I know which runes you're talking about. Literally, that level's full of runes.
Oh yes.
So now I know which the runes bit you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the bit where it's just there's lots of lone pillars in sort of a square shape, and people are dropping down.
And that's the bit. Like I think they used that for the trailer, isn't it? That area, and that's the one bit where I was like, you're talking about it playing well. I think that's the one area where it almost. I don't know, it's designed a little weird because when you're finished killing all those guys, right? You need to get up to the next level. So you have to like climb up a pillar and then jump across.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite aligned well and it never looks like you're going to make it. And it's actually a weird little animation before he grabs the ledge and then he gets over.
Yeah.
So there's some bits in it that are just like, oh, I bet you they would love to clean that up if they had the chance.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, do you think it's a game that could ever get a remake?
No, I don't think so. Just because they can milk the remaster.
Yeah, but it's perfect. Like it doesn't really need it either, does it?
No, apart from things just like that. Like, but it's
like tiny little things. Yeah.
That doesn't really. I it's still really fun to play. You just have to like tweak the 6-axis stuff. You just need to remove them, and that's it. Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful mix between platforming and shooting. Yeah. I think they found a really great way of doing the third-person shooter. Do you know the Do you think the hug and cover thing just worked so well?
Do you think? I'd say that game was in development alongside Gears, right? Because everyone always would say that it's a rip-off of Gears of War, that type of cover shooting.
Yeah.
And I feel like it definitely probably was some form of inspiration, but I feel like they would have been developing it already that I wouldn't say it's a complete rip-off.
Well, yeah, it's like it's interesting to me because sometimes games come out around the same time or even in the same year with like similarities, and people will go, "Oh, that obviously ripped off that because that came out first." But it's like, but like they were being made at the same, like they didn't make it in the last 2 months or whatever it is.
Yeah,
sometimes the industry is just moving in that direction, and people do talk within the
industry. Oh,
industry.
definitely, because there's all these conferences where they share ideas and stuff.
Yeah. But it's the same with like that comes up in music a lot, where a new thing will be like the poppy sound or whatever.
Yeah.
And then suddenly everyone is doing that or whatever. And it's like, oh, they're clearly just capitalizing on this new trend. In some cases, yes, if it's just a single. But if they're like entire albums coming out that sound like that, it's like, well, no, they didn't all just copy this trend. It's just they were all coming onto this trend at the same time. Like, they
all grew up with the same influences and stuff.
Yeah. And they're all feeling, I don't know, inspired by a similar mood or vibe at that time.
Yeah.
No, it depends on the amount of time that went past between when it came out, when the trend came out, and when the other thing that you're mocking.
Oh yeah, like it's clear after like Gears of War and Uncharted that the cover shooter became a desirable feature.
Right. Yeah. Because if you take Arkham Asylum and then you take Shadow of Mordor, there was definitely there was enough time there. Like it wasn't like 2 months afterwards. It was like
they cited in interviews that they were inspired by the Arkham.
Yeah, and I imagine they would have shared the same game engine, or at least some of the same. It's the same.
It's Warner Brothers,
Mother company, isn't it? It's not the same studio, but
no, yeah, they're both Warner Brothers. So
yeah, but I would actually liken Gears of War to more like if you gave like Resident Evil 4 or Resident Evil 5 a cover shooting aspect, because it's just that close in on the shoulders and that close in on the person.
Yeah, I feel like Resident Evil 4 was really the modern, like what took games forward in terms of how you aim exactly in games. So yeah, I think a lot deserves like, there. Credit deserves
with
there.
The kind of with Uncharted, it's almost like when you give Devil May Cry that free camera movement, plus it being able to actually aim when you're shooting, because it's that kind of far away and stuff, that kind of energy of movement.
Oh, I get you. Yeah.
Gears of War is quite kind of slow and sluggish in your movement.
No, I didn't really mean that though. I just meant the cover shooter aspect.
Just the cover shooter aspect.
Like,
yeah.
Right.
I don't recall seeing that in a game before Gears, but it just seems so odd that they were kind of close enough in release that I can't. Well, I maybe they were all chatting or some people moved from one team to the next, and it was like, oh, you should see what I saw. But yeah, it's hard to say. I wouldn't call it a rip-off, but it's definitely, if you were to try and explain Uncharted's gameplay, you would say, oh, it's a bit like Gears of War with the cover shooter. Like that's kind of what you use in your language,
right?
Yeah,
but I don't think it's fair to say that it's a copy of it.
And then mixed with, what would you say it's mixed with in terms of the
if you had a modern
aspect.
Tomb Raider, isn't it?
Yeah,
I suppose. And look at I think those are some things that were said early on as well. It's like, oh, it's just male Tomb Raider. It's like, yeah, it is, and they're aware of that. That's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
If you could be like Tomb Raider, great, because Tomb Raider is amazing. So
and it helped revitalize that series.
Yeah, so Tomb Raider, I think it's cool that Uncharted was 100% influenced by Tomb Raider, and then as a result, Tomb Raider became influenced by Uncharted, and then as a result, Uncharted became influenced by Tomb Raider when they started doing those open areas in Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy, because that's what Tomb Raider. So it's cool because the two are influencing each other. But neither are like, oh, fuck you, we're going to like outsell you. Like, it's not like a case of we're going to wipe you off the board. It's just like, oh, that's cool, we should do that. And then moving forward. So I think that's really cool. But I think the thing that really steals the show in Uncharted 1 is the characters. And this is obviously the first time we meet these characters. So we should talk about the characters. Starting with good old Nathan Drake.
Ah, yeah.
He's great, isn't he? Like,
I think the moment he opens his mouth, he's likable, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shouldn't work. He's one of the most boring looking.
Yeah, well, that was the thing with the trailers, wasn't it? It's like,
it's just a guy in a
it's just a dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it is just a guy. Yeah, in jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah, he looks like a guy that he's going up to you in a clothes store to ask you, like, do you need a help? Like, you need a hand?
He looks like an NPC for San Andreas. But what's He does. He still to this day though looks at odds with the rest of the PlayStation kind of mascots. I remember seeing like PlayStation All Stars, and it's like, who's the guy? You know, he's the only guy there in a jeans and t-shirt. It just looks so weird.
Yeah, and yes,
like even Cole from Infamous, looks like a designed kind of mascot. It's not the same.
Yeah. But yet,
works to his favor.
If he looked more like a mascot-y character, it wouldn't work as well, would it? It would lose the charm of what it is, which is it's like he's this everyday guy who hunts for treasure and kills
pirates. It allowed
for
the industry in general to kind of grow up a little bit in terms of how they perceive storytelling and what characters should look like. Like it really broke the mold of has to be someone with huge muscles.
Yeah. Or even like someone with like leather coats and spiky hair, you know, which don't get me wrong, I like all that shit too.
That's cool.
Everything needs to exist within its
own
pretty cool. Kind of. That is pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, actually, but it didn't allow for reimagining Dante, though, did it? It didn't do that yet.
Well,
the world isn't ready for that.
Look, they tried it a little bit with 2, didn't they? And they got so much backlash that they had to go back to go back to square one.
And that wasn't even that far removed. And then
it was 2.
No, but his design wasn't that far removed from like in comparison to his design in DMC.
Honestly, if I was going to choose any one of his wardrobe to wear, it would definitely be the one from 2, as opposed to some of the other shit he wore.
I would probably wear what he wore in DMC. It's just a t-shirt and a jeans,
and a long coat, wasn't it?
He just has a long coat, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like a Caramore coat. Like it's got the or what's that brand called? They have like it has the UK flag on the fucking sleeve. Like it's a real
Caramore, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what he's wearing. He's wearing a Caramore jacket. Like, so
I thought it was a long trench coat.
It is long, but
Caramore doesn't wear. I see what you mean. Okay, yeah. With that's silly.
Like but it's less. It's not like a Matrix leather coat. Like it's a hood and everything. Like it's like a hoodie that's long. It's not leather. That's what I'm trying to say.
What have you got against leather?
I can't pull off leather. I have nothing against leather. I couldn't pull that off. You were just saying about Nathan Drake though amongst the mascots of PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
Just for a brief little side tangent here.
Yeah.
Who should be PlayStation's overall mascot? If they have a lot, but if they had to have one. So like for example, when it comes to Xbox, it's Master Chief, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to Nintendo, even though people might prefer Link or whatever, it's Mario. Mario is Nintendo's
Mickey
mascot.
Mouse, yeah.
Who should be PlayStation's?
They tried with Little Big Planet, but I never really liked Sackboy. I didn't feel like that really connected with the PlayStation ethos.
Yeah.
Ridge Racer. Just one of those cars.
Yeah, that vehicle from Wipeout. I don't know. Like, I mean, probably I would probably lean towards like Kratos. Maybe I think Kratos is a good. He's got that look of a
PlayStation.
Mascot.
Big, brooding, violent. Every PlayStation player.
But they've reinvented him in a way that it kind of takes on the seriousness of like someone like Drake and Joel, while also maintaining the superhero aspects of like Cole and Aloy and things like that. Like I just think he embodies PlayStation a bit.
Okay, cool. Now you're talking 2018 God of War, right? You're not talking.
I would take any of them as grand.
Just take Kratos. Eric, what do you think? Who should be PlayStation's mascot character?
I don't know. That is a tough one. I actually kind of thinking as she's extremely iconic, and she is mainly PlayStation, at least started PlayStation. I would think kind of Lara Croft.
She is not PlayStation.
What?
She's not though.
How could you say that? Adam?
Because she launched on the Sega Saturn.
What?
Yeah.
Nobody told me this.
I mean, there was a nice connection with PlayStation because most people played it there, but it wasn't like a PlayStation exclusive. So.
All right, so she comes from another fucking planet. Right. Okay, whatever.
I thought she was PlayStation first.
No.
I am heartbroken.
Fine,
Sorry
I'll
to
go
tell
for
you,
it.
Bob. And she's not though. Like, I mean, you wouldn't be able to take, like, at least with Master Chief and Mario, you can only play them on. Like, it has to be an exclusive. Like,
it has to be a character that's exclusive. Well, hold on, you can play God of War on PC now.
Yeah, man. Take
yeah,
that.
you can play like Halo on PC. So what?
Okay. So it doesn't matter if it's on PC then. That's like PC is its own realm.
Yeah, that's a weird place, isn't it? We don't go there. We don't go there. That's the silly place.
We're not cool enough. That's just silly. Who should it be?
I don't know then. Thanks.
You know,
got over my dreams.
I'm gonna give it to Nathan Drake. I think Nathan Drake deserves it. Actually,
good old Nate.
I think he represents a middle ground of like the PlayStation ethos, but he's also much closer to the player. Yeah, I think he could really represent the player, but as well he represents story-based, single-player, narrative-driven games.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go for him.
Okay. What do you think, Eric?
All right, I'll go for Aloy.
You just going for Aloy for the sake of it, or
she's a great character, and she does have a very unique design. You know, again, as we keep saying, Nathan Drake just looks like a dude, but Kratos looks like he's iconic. You look at him, that's Kratos. You look at Aloy, that's Aloy. You know what I mean?
Looks iconic.
And with Aloy's character, she's all about exploration, delving into this world that she's never seen or explored or knows nothing about. Which is very attractive to a lot of gamers, to go into a world that isn't their own, to explore and everything like that. And then pushing forward that idea that, yes, a video game doesn't have to belong to the big burly man. You know what I mean? Like that it is more welcoming to everybody. So I think
gaming's for everyone.
But it does belong to the big burning god. I'd love to hear from the audience if you put in the comments. Out of our 3 picks, who should be the mascot, or if you have a different one?
Yeah, well,
we should also maybe do a poll. That'd be interesting to see what people.
Let's do a poll.
Yeah,
let's do a poll. The poll will be on Spotify because Spotify allows you to add a poll.
Well, you can put it on YouTube either. You can do polls on YouTube.
Yeah, if you have enough subscribers, you can. So if you want to help us get there,
if you want to see this poll, make sure you hit that subscribe button right there. Right, it's down there. It says like.
Otherwise, there will be a poll on Spotify. On Spotify, there'll be a poll, and also you can just throw it in the comments if you're on YouTube. Of the 3, who deserves it, or if you have a much better counter proposal as to
probably someone we're completely forgetting.
PlayStation's mascot. Well, someone might even throw in there. It's like, no, fuck it. I think Jin Sakai in one game became so iconic that he should be representing PlayStation going forward.
Or Spider-Man, because of it became that was basically Sony. That was PlayStation 3, wasn't it? Spider-Man.
Yeah, but no, you can't do that because Nintendo created Mario and Xbox created Master Chief. It has to be an original character who, as well, personally, I feel it has to be someone who's been around long enough that they can represent. To be honest, I'd be like, if it's not Nathan Drake, then, and I know later on the Stat series has become available on other games, but if it's not Nathan Drake, I'm thinking it's Solid Snake. Like that's where I'm at. You know,
rightfully it should be. If they, they should buy that fucking company. Like, come on, acquire. Well, I don't think anyone would go, fuck. If Konami ended up in Sony's hands, they could do some serious shit with their IPs.
There's genuinely believe this.
Bring back Silent Hill.
Silent Hill, Castlevania, and Metal Gear Solid, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually.
Yeah, just sitting there. Honestly, with the acquisitions that have happened in the past few months, I do in the past I do think there are 2 companies that if Sony can, they probably should. Not that everyone should buy up everyone,
no,
but if they can, there's 2 that they probably should. Konami is one of them. Square Enix is the other one.
I think I would like Square to stay independent. But
really?
Konami absolutely Konami needs.
Well, Konami's not doing anything.
Exactly.
So they need that kind of.
I'd like to see companies that just are not doing shit with that stuff. We should be getting more Metal Gear games. We should be getting more Silent Hill games. It's so sad to see that just go to waste.
Pyramid Head should be PlayStation's mascot. He's even got the triangle on his head.
Great shit with it. They do some great shit with it. And I even think people even when Microsoft bought Activision, there's a lot of backlash from people saying, "Oh, and then I'm not going to get my Call of Duties." I still feel like everyone universally would be happy with Sony buying Konami. I don't think anyone would be like, "Oh, that's bad."
Well, no, I you can't say that because there are.
Oh, there might be a couple of PES players that might be annoyed, but
no. The Silent Hill games, a lot of them were released on Xbox, so like there's a lot of people who would be fans of them. So
yeah, like Silent Hill The Room, wasn't it? Like that from then on.
And like Downpour and Homecoming and those games.
Far From Home, Home.
I know it's not and then I think the remasters might have gone onto Xbox as well.
Yeah,
but I know what you're saying. Like it's a game that I associate with the PlayStation in a similar way of like I know the HD collection of Metal Gear Solid was available on Game Pass.
Yeah, but I think it's more.
But it's like no, but that's I associate it with the PlayStation.
Yeah, but much like with Uncharted, for example, right? There's a very specific game type, isn't there? Like in terms of the nicheness of it that you expect from PlayStation, right? It is that kind of very much moment to moment story based stuff. Like I actually think like when Microsoft bought Call of Duty, like that makes total sense to me. Like because I always consider the Xbox just the perfect platform for the first person shooter.
Yeah, and the multiplayer.
Yeah, it's like they have that infrastructure down.
Yeah,
the
I agree.
area that they suffer, I think, has always been the kind of story-driven style games. It's something that they're going to build and work on.
Mm-hmm.
But similar to PlayStation, like when PlayStation had that like kind of deal with Bungie a little bit with Destiny and stuff, I always felt like the PlayStation was a weird platform for the FPS. It worked in their favor, but I don't know. I always associated PlayStation with narrative-driven experiences. So I do think if I think people would realize that Sony would be a good home for something like Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Well, they have
speaking of narrative-driven experiences, then what do we think of the story of Uncharted?
Love it.
The first one, as a whole.
It's my second favorite Uncharted game, so I love it.
Hey, nice. I didn't know we were going to rank them.
I think we did in the past, though.
Yeah, let's not.
That was controversial, wasn't it?
Well, I think we said what our favorite one was.
I think we went
and
through
what our least favorite one was.
I think
and you're a bastard.
Yeah, because like 2 was quite low down, wasn't it? So
for you, yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
For you, it is.
Yeah.
Whatever the rest of the world, you creep. Wow. Eric, what do you think of the story of Uncharted Drake's Fortune?
It's amazing. It's class.
Is that all you got for me?
Yeah, that's all I got for you, man. It is strengthened by its performances.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you get that story. It's a very classic sort of like, oh, here's this treasure. We're gonna go find it and stuff. But if the performance and the direction wasn't as good, it'd be really cheesy. Because the story is quite cheesy.
Yeah, and tropey. That's the thing. It's very tropey. It's like, they're looking for treasure. It's El Dorado. It's cursed treasure.
Yeah.
It wears its influences on its sleeve, but then it does it in a really enjoyable and well written way. I think the dialogue exchanges in particular between the characters throughout the story are what really make the game stand out amongst others. And as well, people have tried to replicate that kind of Naughty Dog writing in terms of how characters will interact with each other.
Yeah, even within Naughty Dog.
Even within Naughty Dog, and not always to great effect. But
hats off to Amy.
This game just set the bar really in terms of character writing, I think.
Yeah.
In particular. I mean, the relationship between Sully and Nate, within a few sentences, you totally get these characters.
And you believe there's a history with them, like you.
Yeah,
you can feel that with them, like they've been buddies forever.
I like that we don't in the first one get much of a backstory for Nate.
Oh yeah, you get enough of what you need, like, and then let's get on with the story kind of thing. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
same with like his interaction with Eddie. It's
just that they know each other.
You
from
understand that they have met in the past and. At one point were probably friends. There's a bit of a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of thing between them, isn't there? Like the way Jack Sparrow and
Barbossa.
Probably Barbossa is probably the better example, because it's like there's are they friends? Are they not? Hard to know.
It's like, I'll help you, but I am gonna stab you in the back later.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Like that great scene, and we did say there would be spoilers, but that great scene where they are back to back. and you have to fight the monsters, and it's a bit tense.
Yep.
But like where he's like, I just want you to know I hate your guts, Nate, and he's just like, yeah, likewise, buddy. Now let's do this.
Like they've done it before, nearly. It's like,
nearly.
It's cool.
Yeah. Like, and as well, it's like, it's this thing of like, we're gonna help each other right now, but like once we get out of here, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
But then he is quite upset when Eddie
dies.
Yeah, Eddie dies.
He's after mowing down all of his men.
Yeah. That's the thing with like Uncharted. Is like it's got one foot in reality and the other foot like in the Fast and the Furious or something. Like it's just not something you can take too seriously.
Ridiculous.
If you try to analyze like he's a serial killer otherwise, if you try to like take it too seriously.
and it doesn't really need that deeper analysis. I think that's when like you could take away from just the fun of what it is.
And unfortunately, that's where some of the criticism started to go in. Like Uncharted got criticized a bit for that.
All right,
you know, being somewhat realistic, but then not taking that type of stuff realistic at all.
And it's like, yeah, but
they tried to help it a little bit in Uncharted 4, I think, but
yeah, it's an action flick though.
It's just a game. Well, it's a game.
It's a game. It's fun. Game. It's like great.
It's
great
Space
fun.
Invaders, but you know,
it's a game. Joel didn't actually die. It's just a game, guys. It's just a game.
Yeah, but Joel did die, Doric.
Yeah, but it's just a game.
It didn't really happen. I didn't see it.
Really happen.
Okay, I'm okay. I think another great relationship that, but the difference being that there isn't a history is Nate and Elena, who the chemistry is just fantastic. Which
from scene one,
and didn't she get the job because she was only filling in to like read lines across from the actors? And then when they saw her and Nolan read against each other, they were just like, "Oh, this is good."
Not sure, actually.
And they offered her the job. I'm pretty sure she came in with whoever the casting director was, which I think was like an old teacher of hers. And he just asked her, "Would you do me a favor, just read across from the actors?" And when they saw her and Nolan together, they were like, "Oh, that's Nate and Elena right there." Yeah, and I think they did have some actors come in for the role of Elena, but none of them had the same kind of what's the word you'd use? Maybe like the same kind of spunk that she had. You know, that kind of that reporter energy, but also I'm not taking any shit from you energy, but also the curiosity and you know, she's great.
Yeah, she's a great character.
And then we have the villains. There's not many characters in Uncharted 1. There's just enough.
Six main characters in the whole thing.
Yeah, we talked about Eddie, but there's also Gabriel Roman, and of course the very standout villain
for Adam. Love this guy.
Talk Navarro, one of my favorite memories. Yeah. So just for the listeners, when we all first played Uncharted, when Adam got to the very end, and
we're all there, we're all three of us.
Navarro was the final boss. He was just like, "Who the fuck is that guy?" He had no idea who he was, and he's in loads of parts of the game.
He is, right? But he's just, you know what? He's so...
He just looks like such a dude.
That's it. He looks like the rest of the background people, that he doesn't have any distinct kind of feature.
Even though he actually doesn't wear the same clothes as anyone else in the entirety of the game.
No, I know, but and there's scenes like when I replayed it, and it's like there's like every scene Gabriel is talking to him. And it's like, how did I miss him? But I honestly just thought, oh, he's talking to another henchman. They all look alike.
He even name drops him outside the submarine.
He does, yeah. I think that says more about Gabriel, though, than it does about the character Navarro.
Yeah, Gabriel Roman is a great villain.
And he 100% is like, that's the villain for the game. And then, nope.
But I actually love that they
did
that, because that's also kind of it was very James Bondy, where maybe the henchman overthrows the boss or something for a different goal. Or I love the showdown on the ship. I think it's great. I died the first few times because I didn't know what I was supposed to do. However, now that I do know what to do, I think it plays out really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there was like one area of the game that I think is poor, is that sequence. I think there's something about it that feels a little bit rushed, and Yeah, it's just a quick time event, really. So.
Yeah, but I just love when you have to run up and jump onto the El Dorado as a
that's cool.
And,
yeah, I like that bit.
It's it's so
and everything's jumping
the
out.
Climax of a blockbuster,
Yeah,
it's great.
But I think
the ship is poor. I think. Great.
What you guys think of the twist? Actually, that El Dorado, which we're searching for in the game, is not a city of gold, but is in fact a golden sarcophagus.
I loved everything about it.
I thought that was great because, yes, you're expecting El Dorado, City of Gold. That's what we all grew up with. And then it's, no, El Dorado, the Golden Man. You're like, oh, okay, this is cool.
Dorado.
There's a different version of El Dorado. Not the one we grew up with. Then there's the Golden Man. Okay, so we got to look for this giant golden statue thing. And then you get to the golden statue. Plot twist. It's a sarcophagus with some demon witch that spews out poison that turns things into cannibalistic zombies. I was like, this is awesome.
Isn't it so cool?
Wicked.
I remember getting to a point where when it teased that there might be monsters, or it's like you find the guy who's killed. Like I didn't think for a second that there would be. It's like, what's been eaten? Let's get out of here before we find out whatever's been chewing on this guy.
Yeah.
And they're like, the footprints are weird.
Yeah.
And just at that moment, I was like, oh, now I hope there's monsters.
Yeah, same.
Well, and I had that lost feeling of like, what is the monster? Or like, where is it?
Or is it just like locals with weird shoes?
Right. Yeah, like cannibals or something. And they are awesome.
They're cool.
But they're fucking scary as well. And then you have that whole, which I think Until Dawn took a bit of inspiration from, but when you're in the German base and you find the old film footage of like the scientists and the test subjects turning into these things.
Yeah.
It's like, and suddenly it's
I do think out of all
the
kind of mysterious monster style stuff, the first one has the best.
Oh yeah,
by far.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Because the second one is just almost copy and paste.
Yeah, I didn't like it in the second one, like at all. In fact,
I thought the second one, and maybe we'll talk about that in and of itself, actually. But I did think the second one was interesting, and then it wasn't. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I think at first it was like, I never would have guessed that. That's interesting. And then it's like, oh, now it's less interesting.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
No.
And I think the third one is actually kind of.
The third one is
one's interesting, but they just don't do it like enough of it. Like it's like There's too much shit happening that becomes just another piece to the whole thing. But I think the first one is just. Yeah,
it's very clean.
Yeah, it's nicely done. They don't overstay their welcome. It's just keep
giving enough. The build up to it is great.
Yeah, and
plus I love that then it becomes a thing of like, this is what Navarro was looking for.
Yeah, he knew about it.
He knew about it. He was the only one who knew about it, and he was like, "Have you any idea what this is worth to the right?"
And you can always imagine that he was probably looking at like someone like Lazarevich to sell it to.
Yeah, well, I was always thinking, like, what if one of these games someday brought in a villain who has always been like, even it would have been an interesting little thing to throw into like Uncharted 3, like even if you happen to find some sort of correspondence between Navarro and them, because these guys collect this kind of occult shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like
it's like Russell Crowe just comes in and say, "I'm just here to collect some monsters."
By the way, it is Mr. Hyde
for my Monsterverse.
Yeah. Yeah, just shoehorn in it, and then there could be a spin-off. Chloe gets her own game. Yeah. Sorry. She did actually.
She did. Actually, it wasn't that bad. It was actually
a very, really good game.
Yeah, it was just really good game.
It's great. Chloe and Nadine. Which other thing? Sorry.
I believe Navarro was voiced by Robin Atkin-Downs.
Yeah, he was.
That's another game.
Yeah,
Robin.
I think he was. Yeah.
Man of many voices is in everything ever.
Yeah, he is. I think another thing this game does really well, and the series does really well, is the music.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
The music, and not just the main theme, but even just like the little jungle themes. And there's a point where they're down below, especially when he's learning about the cursed people. There's a lot of bits of music that's reminiscent of Pierce Brosnan era James Bond. The World Is Not Enough, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of little motifs in there where I'm like, oh, that sounds quite like that. And so there's like Bond era music and Indiana Jones kind of music, and these are all the things that the series is kind of based on.
Yeah.
There's one bit of piece of music in it, or it's part of the music of exploration in Uncharted, when you're going through the ruins of the El Dorado, or what you think is El Dorado, right? You know, you're going through that city and everything, that those runes built into the mountain.
Oh yeah.
At the start of the game, and then I think you hear it again going through like the jungle, or you're going through some of the other places on the island. But every so often, you hear a scream.
Yeah,
and it's kind of part of the ambience of the music. But then when you find out the twist, you're kind of like,
yeah,
wait a minute, is that scream actually in the game?
And it's way more prominent than obviously when you're in the like underground aqueducts kind of area.
Yeah,
you just hear all those screaming in the background, where it's like really, I really like that element of it. It kind of has a Resi like vibe to it, where they use ambience.
It does.
To kind of scare you. And I think that I actually thought that bit was very effective in being tense. Like, I definitely had a few jumps a few times because they come at you quite quickly. And
oh yeah,
I always dread those bits, even though I love it.
The
as
bit
a
where you have
to,
the doors close and you have to go from one to the next, and it's like
yeah, I dread fighting those things because they are actually, I find them actually scary. And I think, like you were saying, like it is the first one does the monster element the best because they're an integral part of the story and not just some kind of add-on when you finally get there. You know what I mean? Like there's a few chapters where you're dealing with them.
Yeah.
And you realize it's like, oh no,
locations and things, yeah.
And this thing cannot leave the island. Like I think that's so, and you find out that like Sir Francis Drake, and I also love that element where like if people take like a mystery from history and then write fiction around it, where you can go, maybe that happened,
like National Treasure.
Just buy into it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the fact that Sir Francis Drake he had his men destroy all the ships or whatever, it's like, why did he strand his own men? And it's actually because to ensure that this thing didn't leave the island.
Genius.
So good. I love it. But then they brought it there, didn't they?
From that island, yes.
Yeah, they brought it to that island and then realized it was fucked.
Yeah. That was obviously a colony that they had.
Bring it back.
It's like,
and then he for some reason leaves a journal in his coffin for people to perfectly find that island.
Wouldn't you?
Was that not before any of the shit hit the fan though?
Oh yeah, was it?
Yeah.
You know, he did that to follow my trail.
Although, but why would he leave the journal behind in a coffin that's empty? I mean, obviously, I know it's a story mechanic and it's really awesome, but like logistically, you have your journal.
That is exactly how pirates work, Eric. Pirates leave maps and notes. And
haven't you played Sea of Thieves? Come on, man! Come on!
And he was a pirate.
He was a pirate.
He was a pirate.
Yeah, cool with it.
I think it's I really like as well the title of the game. I don't just mean Uncharted, which I think is a great title anyway, because it just means, look, as long as you're searching for something that has yet to be found, then it works. Yeah. But Drake's Fortune being a play on two phrases, one being you're looking for the gold of Sir Francis Drake, and then two, the character Nathan Drake, and just like this is just his luck. It's like, and the whole way through, not only this game but the experience of the franchise is that he literally just scrapes by at all times, you know. It's like, so I think it's a title that really works.
That's how the health system works, isn't it? That's what they said in the interview, that it was when it's going great, it's Nathan Drake's luck is running out. Yeah, his chances are running out, which is really cool.
That is cool. I didn't think about it that way before. That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's a lot of one-liners in the game, as there are in all the games. Just quotes in general. Have you got a favorite?
I was trying to remember the game now.
Yeah. It's been a while since I fucking played the game.
It's been a minute.
Oh, it's been a while.
Been a while.
Christ. Oh my god. Like, I mean, there's so many.
My favorite line in the game.
Yeah.
Adios, asshole. It's so simple, but I just love it. I just love that he pushes the helicopter, the rope wraps around Navarro, he goes, oh shit, he gets pulled, and adios, asshole. I just think that's fucking great. It's like, if you could say something to a bad... the other thing is, it's like, normally they would try and come up with some, like, something that the villain used to say throughout, and then the hero could say it back to them just before they kill him or something.
I don't have a favorite line, but I have a favorite exchange. Which is the a hooker to church exchange between him and Sully.
yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's-
I'm sweating like a hooker in church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A hooker in a church.
And that was improv. Like that wasn't in
Yeah.
the script. So there's like those moments I think are great.
Yeah, I mean, I think I say that line actually a lot when I'm sweating. I probably shouldn't. I probably shouldn't say that so often, but I do. And no one else gets it. It's disappointing. But
That one, and I also really like the one where
you just sound like a fucking weirdo when you're
Yeah.
referencing things that no one else knows or heard of before. It's like,
Yes,
wow,
true.
Eric's a psycho.
he's a full-on psychopath.
Yeah.
It's like you
I
welcome
ate
him
his
into your-
liver with some fava beans. It's like no, and it's like if no one has ever seen Silence Lambs, they're going to get worried, man.
Yeah. It's like the welcome.
I put the lotion on the skin.
You go into someone's house and it's just like, hey, what do you think? It's cozy if you're Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Straight up getting worried about Eric.
This guy is not okay. I also really like the one where he's in the German base and he's looking across the way and they're using like the microphones to
Keep
communicate.
laughing,
Gabriel
asshole.
Roman has the map, and like Navarro's just like, and he's like, yeah, you keep smiling, asshole. I'm gonna see you later.
Yeah.
I think it's
It's
He's
good,
just-
yeah.
yeah.
It's really well written.
his attitude trait. Have you
Yeah.
any criticisms or least favorite parts of the game?
Chapter 4.
Yeah, I
Just as
think
a
the
whole, or-
difficulty is not balanced well, where it doesn't progressively, like, you know, as you get better weapons, it would, you know, balance with you. Because that chapter 4, even the game devs, because like Retro Replay had them on, like a couple of game devs to talk about it as they played through the games and stuff, and they discussed how, like, look, yeah, the balance is fucking way off, and you can feel that as you're playing it. But I actually feel like the end, for example, I don't particularly like that last fight. I like it in terms of just getting through it and seeing it through, but I don't necessarily enjoy playing it. And I do think that the beginning of the game isn't very strong, and I think it gets much stronger once you meet up with once you're Sully in the jungle. I think being on the boat with the kind of scuba gear, I think, is a weird way to introduce the character.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really. I wouldn't judge the game based on that opening. I think wait till the next bit when you're in the jungle with Sully, and that's when the game really kicks off.
Really kicks off. Yeah. Eric, any criticisms or least favorite part of the game?
Yeah, it's chapter 4.
Oh, right.
You
Just
mean
as a whole.
all of
the
it.
whole chapter.
That chapter
Oh,
is rock.
I thought you were joking at first. Sorry.
No, that chapter is actually quite annoying to get through because it's actually really long
Yeah.
and just kind of keeps going.
Especially when you want to
and
do
keeps-
the crushing run through, because like
Yeah, when you want to do.
you get through the first 3, you're like, oh, that was, you know, I'm sweating, but then you get to 4 and it's like, yeah, you know what, fuck this game.
And then you are that you're like that hooker in church, like, you know what I mean, when you get to the 4, it's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
But no, because it's just that chapter is actually quite long and is not balanced, and it's like just a fight and then another fight and another fight and another fight, and it just gets progressively harder and harder and harder, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that chapter is annoying. Once you get to kind of chapter 5, it gets kind of
Well, my least favorite part is actually the jet ski. Which
Oh,
to me,
yeah, that doesn't play
to
well.
me
at
is
all.
like to me is like the Mako, I suppose, of Uncharted. It's like there's a reason they didn't do jet ski sequences in the follow-ups. Like I don't think anyone liked the jet ski sequences.
they're awesome.
You do it more than once, and after a while, the barrels are hitting you and shit, and people are shooting at you. Like, fuck this.
But there
It's
is a very
annoying.
Tomb Raider-esque, like, that's one of those things where I'm like, it's not that fun to play, especially if you're going up the river. It's really annoying because you keep fucking going back down.
Yeah,
But then on the other hand, I'm like, oh, the nostalgia of this is just too good.
yeah, it does feel old school. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. And I do like that you have a moment there where Nate is driving and Elena's doing the shooting, and it just gives. I mean, from a story point of view, I like it because the two characters are bonding, but also Elena is really involved now in the adventure and in what's happening.
Yeah.
But just from actually playing it, every time I get on, just go, oh no, I gotta get through this bit again.
Yeah.
He's also a very there's Nathan Drake's also been doing this for quite a while, fighting pirates and mercenaries and all that. So I suppose for him, he's a little bit more used to having to fight to live. she's a reporter from like New York or something, and she just picks up a freaking grenade launcher, starts blasting people to bits. And
it's like a camera, right? You just point and shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I started blasting.
And then I suppose to follow on from that question, what is your favorite part of the game or your favorite thing about the game?
The satisfying bit is the go on, open it. You know, Gabriel that opens it and he becomes a monster, and that reveal is just like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. Who knows that guy?
Poor Navarro.
Yeah, no, I really like Navarro. He's awesome. That was awesome. That moment, that exchange, because it's just that final little twist of a nail in the coffin that just paid off so well. And then another bit, just actually a lot of the moments with the monsters, I think is really good. Yeah.
Adam, favorite part of the game or favorite aspect of the game?
I think it's chapter 2, which would be the bit with Sully, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because when I think of Drake's Fortune, I just think of that lush, vibrant jungle, and then just the exchange between those two characters, and just trying to figure out what's going on here. Like genuinely searching for treasure, I think is my favorite bit.
Yeah. I don't think I could pick a favorite moment. I think it's just the character exchanges throughout. I think have to be my favorite thing about the game. Very quickly fell in love with the characters who are easily previous to that. Like if I just seen them on a piece of paper, I would have thought, oh, these are boring looking characters. They're not hugely exciting or anything. And yet, you know, they're just so well written and so well performed that they became iconic. And all it is, you know, a guy with a flowery shirt and a mustache and a guy with a fucking white t-shirt on, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing iconic about them except for the way they're written and their performances. So I think that's my favorite aspect of the game. Will that come across in the movie? Who knows?
Actually, another aspect.
Not the great acting part, anyway.
Shots fired.
Holy fuck.
But another aspect I liked about Uncharted Drake's Fortune, the fucking booklet. God, I miss booklets.
You mean in the case, like?
In the case,
you open the case, there's the booklet, and it tells you about the characters. So you have an idea of the characters before you actually get to hear them talk. So you have that connection. You know, Elena, from reading it, you know Elena is a failing documentary filmmaker. So you know that she's really relying on this story, and then it just goes to shit because this swindler has messed her over. Like,
yeah, he's totally screwed her over. He abandoned her.
Yeah, and so you get that connection because you have the little bit of background to the characters, which is nice, and then we don't get that anymore.
No, I don't think I've ever read that booklet.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know it came with a booklet. Sorry.
You missed out, man. That's where it tells you who Navarro is. Don't you?
Yeah. That would help.
There's a whole backstory on Navarro in the booklet.
Yeah. Actually, funny enough, in Uncharted 4, all right, you go to the multiplayer and you go to attack Navarro, and it does actually give you his backstory. It tells you how he met Gabriel Robin. I was like,
they realized Adam was looking for it. They were like,
that helped a lot.
Better put this in.
Thank you, Uncharted 4.
Yeah, you helped me so much. Anyway, those are our thoughts on Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and we would love to hear from other people. So let us know, what is your favorite moment from Uncharted Drake's Fortune? What's your favorite aspect of the game? What do you like about it? What do you dislike about it? And also, as we were saying earlier on, who should be, given that this was a PlayStation exclusive game, who should be PlayStation's mascot? If Xbox's is Master Chief and Nintendo's is Mario, who should be the one PlayStation overall mascot? Do let us know. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please let us know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, please do give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click the notification bell for all of our future content. And if you're listening to us on audio platforms, then you can touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to give your take on Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Thank you so much for listening. This is our 100 episodes. So if you've listened at any point, whether it was just today for the first time or in the podcast thread, thank you so much for checking us out, for giving us a listen, and we'd love to hear from you guys. Greatness comes from small beginnings. We shall talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
It's like that's what we have to keep down.
Yeah. Right? Please listen. Please listen.